The envelope contained $5 million and I was supposed to say yes. My hands wouldn't stop shaking, not because of the money, because of what he was asking me to do. 3 hours ago, I'd been scrubbing his bathroom floor, and now he wanted me to carry his child. "You're thinking about it," he said. His voice was calm, almost bored. "That's good. That means you're smart." I wasn't thinking. My brain had stopped working the moment he'd said the number. $5 million. I made $32,000 a year cleaning houses. I'd need to work for over 150 years to earn that much. My little sister needed surgery. My mom's medication cost more each month than I made in a week. $5 million would solve everything. "Mr. Blake." "Call me David," he interrupted, leaning back in his leather chair. He was younger than most billionaires I'd seen on TV, maybe 35, with dark hair that probably cost more to cut than my rent. "We're going to be close, very close." My stomach turned. "I don't understand why you'd ask me. You could have anyone, models, actresses, people from your world." "That's exactly why I'm asking you." He stood up, walking to the window. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. Beautiful. Cold. "Women in my world want something from me. Money, status, a ring. You already know I'm not offering any of that. This is a business transaction. 9 months of your time, one healthy baby, $5 million deposited into your account the day you sign over custody." He said it like he was ordering furniture. "Hey friends, thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to comment where you are watching from. Someone close to you might be watching too. Like, share, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a story. Make sure to watch till the very end because the final twist is something you definitely don't want to miss. So let's continue. I'd been cleaning his mansion for 6 months. Every Tuesday and Friday, I'd show up at 7 in the morning and spend 4 hours making his perfect life even more perfect. Dusting shelves filled with books he never read, washing dishes he barely used because he ate out most nights, folding clothes that cost more than my car. I'd never spoken to him until last week. I'd been cleaning his study when I'd found the folder. It was sitting on his desk, wide open, and I wasn't snooping. I swear I wasn't. But my eyes caught the words before I could look away. Surrogate options. There were photos inside, women, beautiful women with their ages, education levels, and medical histories listed like they were applying for a job. Because they were. "You saw the folder." His voice behind me had made me jump so hard I'd knocked over a pen holder. "Don't worry, you're not in trouble." But I was. Because when he'd looked at me that day, really looked at me for the first time, something had shifted in his expression. "How old are you?" he'd asked. 26. "Healthy?" Yes." "Good." He'd nodded, like he'd made a decision. "Come to my office Friday at 6. I have a proposal for you." And now here I was, being offered enough money to change my entire life, and all I had to do was grow a stranger's baby inside me and then give it away. "I need to think," I whispered. "Of course." He pulled a card from his pocket. Thick, cream-colored paper with just a phone number printed in black. "You have until Monday. Call me with your answer." I took the card. My fingerprints left small smudges on the smooth surface. "One more thing." He stepped closer. Too close. I could smell his cologne, something expensive and woody. "This stays between us. You tell anyone, the offer disappears. You understand?" I nodded. "Good. Now go home. Think carefully. This is the kind of opportunity most people only dream about." The apartment was dark when I got home. My sister Lily was asleep on the couch, her laptop still open on her chest. She was 17, brilliant and dying. Not quickly, the doctor said she had years, maybe decades if she got the surgery. But our insurance had denied it twice. Experimental, they called it. Not medically necessary. Tell that to Lily when she couldn't walk upstairs without stopping to catch her breath. I closed the laptop and pulled a blanket over her. She stirred, blinking up at me in the darkness. "Hey," she mumbled. "You're late." "Long day." "You look weird. What happened?" Everything. Nothing. My whole world had tilted sideways, and I didn't know which way was up anymore. Just tired, I lied. She knew I was lying. Lily always knew. But she was too exhausted to push, so she just squeezed my hand and drifted back to sleep. I sat on the floor next to the couch and pulled out the card. Just a number. 10 digits that separated my old life from a new one. I could call it. Say yes. In 9 months, Lily would have her surgery, Mum would have her medication, we'd have a house instead of this tiny apartment where the heat barely worked and the neighbours fought every night. All I had to do was carry a baby for a man I didn't know and then pretend I'd never been pregnant at all. My phone buzzed. A text from my mum. Can you send money for the prescription? They won't refill until I pay last month's balance. $240. I had $83 in my checking account. I stared at the text until the screen went dark. Saturday morning, I went to the library. Not to think. I'd been thinking all night and gotten nowhere. But to research. If I was even considering this, I needed to know what I was getting into. The medical stuff was straightforward enough. IVF, implantation, prenatal care, birth. Women did it all the time. Surrogates helped families who couldn't have children on their own. It was legal, regulated, safe. But David Blake wasn't looking for a family. He was looking for an heir. Someone to inherit his empire without the messy complication of a relationship. I found his Wikipedia page. Born into money. Multiplied it into more money. Never married. No public relationships. One quote from a business magazine. Romance is inefficient. I prefer investments I can predict. He wanted a child the way other people wanted a new car, and I was supposed to be the factory. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? It's David. Of course he'd gotten my number. He probably knew my blood type and social security number too. Have you decided? It's only been 1 day. I know. I'm not calling for your answer. I'm calling to make sure you understand what I'm offering. $5 million is just the start. Full medical care. A private doctor. An apartment closer to the hospital so you're not commuting. A stipend for expenses, anything you need. Why me? The question burst out before I could stop it. You could hire an agency. Professional surrogates. Why your maid? Silence then. Because you're invisible. The words hit like a slap. Women in my world, they'll talk. They'll want more. They'll think 9 months of carrying my child means they own part of my life. But you? He paused. You already know your place. You clean my house and disappear. That's what I need. Someone who understands this is temporary. Someone who won't get attached. I should have hung up. Should have told him to take his $5 million and choke on it. Instead I said, I need until Monday. Of course, I'll be waiting. Sunday I went to church. I hadn't been in months. Work kept me too busy and, honestly, I wasn't sure I believed in much anymore. But I needed to sit somewhere quiet and figure out what kind of person I was about to become. The sermon was about sacrifice. Abraham and Isaac. God asking for the impossible and Abraham saying yes, without question. I left halfway through. At home, Lily was having a bad day. She'd tried to take a shower and couldn't finish. She was sitting on the bathroom floor in her towel, crying because her body wouldn't do what she needed it to do. I helped her back to bed and called the hospital. The surgery scheduler was polite but firm. Without payment, they couldn't book the procedure. The cost was $370,000. I had $83,000. That night I drafted a text to the number on the card. Deleted it. Drafted another one. Deleted that too. What was I so afraid of? The pregnancy? The birth? Giving up the baby? No. I was afraid of what it meant about me that I was actually considering this, that I could grow a life inside me and hand it over like a package, that I could put a price on something that should be priceless. But Lily didn't have 9 months to wait for me to figure out my morals, and Mum was rationing her pills, taking one every other day instead of every day because she couldn't afford them. I picked up my phone and typed, yes. My finger hovered over send. Then I added, but I have conditions. Monday morning, I met David at a coffee shop downtown. Neutral territory. He was already there when I arrived, sitting in the back corner with a laptop open. "Conditions," he said as I sat down. No greeting, no small talk. "Tell me." I'd made a list. I pulled it from my purse, wrinkled notebook paper covered in my messy handwriting. "I want half the money up front. 2.5 million before the pregnancy starts." He nodded. "Done." "I want my own lawyer to review the contract. I'll pay for it. I want to choose my own doctor. As long as they're board certified and experienced with high-risk pregnancies, fine." I swallowed. "And I want to meet the egg donor, know who she is." For the first time his expression shifted. Not much, just a tiny tightening around his eyes. "That's not part of the arrangement." "It is now. I'm not carrying a stranger's baby without knowing where half the DNA is coming from. The egg donor is anonymous. That's the whole point. Then find a new surrogate." We stared at each other. Around us the coffee shop buzzed with normal life. People ordering lattes, students studying, someone's phone playing music too loud. Finally, David closed his laptop. "There is no egg donor." My brain stuttered. "What?" "I'm using my genetic material, that's not negotiable, but the egg—" He looked uncomfortable for the first time since I'd met him. Actually human. "I need someone with the right traits, intelligence, health, resilience. I've been looking for months and haven't found the right match. Understanding crashed over me like cold water." "You want to use my eggs?" "Yes. So it wouldn't just be surrogacy. It would be my biological child." "Biologically, yes. Legally, no. You'd sign away all parental rights before conception. The child would be mine in every way that matters." I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the floor. "You're insane. I'm practical." He stood too. "Think about it. You're young, healthy, educated, despite your circumstances. Your sister is brilliant. I looked into your family history. Good genetics on both sides. And you need the money badly enough to consider something most people wouldn't. How dare you investigate me? I investigate everyone I do business with. It's not personal. This is as personal as it gets." My voice was too loud. People were staring. I lowered it to a harsh whisper. "You want me to grow our baby and then pretend I didn't? You want to raise my child and have me clean your house while they're playing in the next room? No. After the birth, your services would no longer be required. We'd never see each other again." "Oh, of course, that made it so much better." I grabbed my purse. "Find someone else." "Lily's surgery is scheduled for October," he said quietly. "If she doesn't get it before winter, her condition will deteriorate. The doctors gave her 18 months, maybe 2 years. You're running out of time." I froze. "I'm not trying to be cruel," he continued. "I'm trying to show you the reality. You need money fast. I'm offering it. Everything else is just noise." "It's not noise. It's my child." "No." His voice was firm. "It's my child. You'd be the genetic mother, yes, but motherhood is more than DNA. It's who shows up, who raises them, who sacrifices for them. That will be me. You'll be someone who helped me, nothing more." I should have walked away, should have told him that no amount of money was worth this. But when I closed my eyes, I saw Lily on the bathroom floor, Mum counting pills, the stack of medical bills on our kitchen counter. 10 million, I heard myself say. David blinked. "Excuse me?" "If it's my egg, my body, my DNA, 10 million. 5 million up front. 5 million when I sign over custody. And I want it in writing that I never have to see you again. No surprise visits. No checking in. Nothing." I expected him to refuse, to laugh, to tell me I was being ridiculous. Instead, he extended his hand. "Deal." The contract was 47 pages long. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Kate, who David's money had hired, spent 6 hours walking me through every clause. It was airtight. David would have full custody. I'd have no parental rights, no visitation, no contact. If I ever tried to reach out to the child, I'd owe back every penny plus interest. "This is the most cold-blooded thing I've ever seen," Kate said, shaking her head. "And I've seen a lot. Are you sure about this?" I wasn't sure about anything. But I signed anyway. The money hit my account the next day. $2.5 million. More money than I'd ever imagined having. I paid for Lily's surgery, paid off Mom's medical bills, bought us a small house in a good neighborhood with a yard and heat that actually worked. Then I went to the clinic for the embryo transfer. David was there, we didn't speak. I lay on the table while doctors I'd never met implanted something so small I couldn't even see it, and tried not to think about what I'd agreed to. 2 weeks later, the test came back positive. I was pregnant. The first trimester was awful. Morning sickness that lasted all day, exhaustion so deep I could barely function. David had moved me into a luxury apartment near his penthouse. Easier to monitor your health, he'd said, and hired a nurse to check on me twice a day. I felt like a science experiment. Lily visited every weekend, her colour better now, her energy returning. The surgery had worked. She was going to live. Every time I threw up or couldn't sleep or felt the bizarre reality of what was happening to my body, I reminded myself of that. Lily would live. That was what mattered. But at night, alone in the expensive apartment that didn't feel like home, I'd put my hand on my still flat stomach and wonder what I was doing. David checked in weekly, not in person, through his assistant, a polished woman who asked if I needed anything and recorded my answers on a tablet. I hadn't seen him since the transfer. By the second trimester, the pregnancy became real in a way it hadn't been before. I felt movement. Tiny flutters at first, then actual kicks. The baby, my baby, but not my baby, was alive and growing and completely dependent on me. I tried not to think about it too much, tried to stay detached. This was a job, a transaction. I was an incubator, nothing more. But bodies don't work that way. Hormones don't care about contracts. Every day, the thing inside me became more real, more present, more mine. I started talking to it when I was alone. Nothing important, just small things. You're kicking a lot today. Are you dancing? Do you like music? I'd play songs and feel the response in my belly. I knew I shouldn't. Knew I was making it harder. But I couldn't help it. Kate called one afternoon. I need to tell you something, and you're going to hate it. What? I did some digging into David Blake, into why he's doing this, why he's so desperate for an heir. And? His father's will, it's locked up tight, but I know someone who knows someone. Turns out David only inherits the full family fortune if he produces an heir before he turns 36. Otherwise, it all goes to charity. He turns 36 in 10 months. The room spun. So this isn't about wanting a child. This is about money. His money. He stands to lose $7 billion if he doesn't produce a kid in time. You're not helping him become a father. You're helping him meet the terms of his inheritance. After she hung up, I sat in the silent apartment and tried to process it. Everything about this had felt wrong from the start, but I'd told myself it was just because the situation was unusual. That David was eccentric but genuine in wanting a child. But he wasn't. This baby, our baby, was just a means to an end, a key to a vault. I should have been angry, should have felt betrayed. Instead, I felt something else, something I didn't have a name for yet. I started changing the plan that night, carefully, quietly. I couldn't let David know, couldn't let anyone know. But every time the baby kicked, every time I went for a checkup and saw the ultrasound, every time I felt this life depending on me, I knew I couldn't do it. I couldn't hand my child over to a man who saw them as a business asset. The problem was the contract, the legal cage I'd signed myself into. If I tried to back out, I'd lose everything. The money, the house. Lily's surgery would get repossessed like a car. We'd be worse off than before. But there were loopholes. There always were. I called Kate. If something happened to David, if he died or became incapacitated, what happens to the baby? According to the contract, custody would go to his next of kin. He has a brother. And if I never signed over custody? Long pause. You'd have a strong case for parental rights. You're the biological mother. If the father can't take custody, and you refuse to terminate your rights, a judge would probably rule in your favor. Why? Just curious. I wasn't planning to hurt David. I'm not that person. But I was planning to disappear. I started moving money, small amounts that wouldn't trigger alerts. From the account David's team monitored to accounts they didn't know about. I researched cities where I could vanish, places with big populations and lax documentation requirements. I had 4 months until my due date. 4 months to figure out how to break an unbreakable contract. David came to the apartment when I was 7 months along. I hadn't seen him since the transfer, and I'd almost forgotten what he looked like in person instead of in my imagination. He'd brought gifts, a designer diaper bag, a cashmere baby blanket, things that cost more than most people's monthly rent. "You look good," he said, eyeing my swollen belly. "The doctors say everything is progressing normally." "Yeah, everything's fine." "Good." He set the gifts on the counter. I wanted to talk about after, about the birth plan. "What about it?" "I'd like to be there, in the delivery room, to see my child being born." The possessive pronoun made my skin crawl. "I don't think that's a good idea. I disagree. This is the most important moment of my life. I should be present. It's my body, my medical procedure. I get to decide who's there." His jaw tightened. "I'm paying for this." "You're paying me to carry the baby. You're not paying for ownership of my body during labor. That's not in the contract." He'd never looked at me like that before, like I was an obstacle instead of a tool. "I could make this difficult for you." "You already have." We stared at each other. The baby kicked hard like it could sense the tension. "Fine," he said finally. "I won't be in the room. But I want to know the moment the baby is born. I want to be the first person to hold them. Not the first, I would be, but I didn't argue." After he left, I sat down with my laptop and bought a plane ticket. One way. Destination somewhere he'd never think to look. I had 8 weeks. The plan fell apart 3 weeks before my due date. I was packing, slowly, carefully, only things that wouldn't be missed, when the apartment door opened, not the nurse, not the assistant, David. "Going somewhere?" He looked at the half-filled suitcase on the bed. My heart stopped. "I was just organizing—" "Don't lie to me." He walked to the suitcase and pulled out the envelope I'd hidden under clothes, the one with my new ID, my new social security card, documents that had cost me $50,000 and were supposed to be untraceable. "I've been tracking your account activity," he said quietly. "The withdrawals, the transfers. Did you really think I wouldn't notice?" "I can't do this." The words tumbled out. "I thought I could, but I can't. This is my baby, mine. You can't buy them. We had a deal. The deal was wrong. You want this child for money, for an inheritance. That's not a reason to be a parent. And running away is?" He threw the envelope on the bed. "Stealing my child and disappearing, that's your plan? It's not stealing if they're mine. They're not yours." His voice cracked like thunder. "You signed a contract. You took my money. You don't get to change your mind because you caught feelings." "These aren't feelings. This is my child." "No." He stepped closer, towering over me. "This is my child. This is my heir. This is mine. You're just the vessel. You knew that from the start." Something inside me broke. "Get out." "Excuse me?" "Get out of my apartment." "It's not your apartment, it's mine. Everything here is mine, including that baby." The baby kicked, hard enough that it hurt, like they were fighting too. "I'll take you to court," I said. My voice was shaking but steady. "I'll fight for custody. I'm the biological mother. I carried them. No judge will give you full custody when your only reason for wanting them is money." David smiled. It was the coldest expression I'd ever seen. "You'll lose. I have the best lawyers money can buy. I have the contract. I have documentation of every penny you've spent, every decision you've made. I'll bury you. And when I'm done, you'll have nothing. No baby, no money. Your sister's surgery, I'll sue to have that repossessed. The house, gone. I will destroy you." I believed him. "But," he continued, his voice softening, "it doesn't have to be that way. Honor the contract. Give me my child. Take the rest of your money and disappear. Live your life. Save your family. Just let me have what I paid for." I had no leverage, no power, No way to win. Except one. No, I whispered. What? No, you can't have them. Sue me. Destroy me, I don't care. But you're not taking my baby. The lawsuit started 3 days later. David's lawyers filed for immediate custody upon birth. They painted me as unstable, greedy, manipulative. A woman who'd taken millions of dollars and then tried to steal what she'd promised. My lawyer fought back, but Kate was honest. Unless we find something that changes the game, we're going to lose. The contract is too solid. I had 4 days until my due date, 4 days to figure out how to protect my child. I spent those days researching everything I could about David Blake, his business, his family, his father's will. There had to be something, some weakness, some crack in his armor. I found it on the 3rd day, buried in an old business magazine article from 10 years ago, a quote from David's father. A Blake heir must be legitimate, born of love and marriage to inherit the family fortune. Legitimate, born of love and marriage. Not from a surrogacy contract, not from a business transaction. David's plan wouldn't work. Even if he won custody, even if he raised the child as his own, they wouldn't meet the terms of his father's will. He needed a child born in wedlock. He needed a wife. He needed me. I called him. I know about your father's will, the real requirements. Silence then. Where did you... It doesn't matter. What matters is your plan doesn't work. This baby doesn't get you your inheritance. You need a legitimate heir. You need to be married. I can adopt after gaining custody. That satisfies the requirement. Does it? Have you checked? Or have you been so desperate to get an heir before your birthday that you didn't read the fine print? More silence. Longer this time. What do you want? He finally asked. I want you to stop the lawsuit. I want you to admit this whole thing was a mistake. I want you to let me keep my baby. And what do I get? Nothing. You get nothing. Because you planned this entire thing wrong and now you're going to lose everything. $7 billion gone because you couldn't be bothered to fall in love like a normal person. I hung up. 2 hours later, his lawyers withdrew the lawsuit. My daughter was born on a Tuesday. 8 pounds, 6 ounces. Perfect. Beautiful. Mine. I named her Hope. David never came to the hospital. Never called. Never tried to contact me again. I heard through Kate that he'd gotten married 6 months later, some socialite who agreed to have a baby immediately. But I didn't care. I had everything I needed. The $5 million I'd already received, I kept it. David never asked for it back. Maybe he knew he'd lose that lawsuit too. Maybe he was just done with me. I didn't care about that either. I moved back in with Mom and Lily. We raised Hope together. She grew up surrounded by love, by women who wanted her for who she was, not what she could give them. Sometimes I think about that day in David's office, the envelope with $5 million, the choice I made. I should have said no from the start, should have known better than to think I could grow a life inside me and walk away. But if I had said no, Lily wouldn't be in college now. Mum wouldn't have the care she needs. And Hope, my brilliant, stubborn, perfect daughter, wouldn't exist. So maybe I made the right choice, not the easy one, not the clean one, but the right one. David got his heir eventually, some son born to his society wife. I saw the announcement in the paper. He never knew that Hope, the daughter he almost bought, was smarter, kinder, and more loved than any inheritance could buy. And that's the truth he'll never learn. Some things, the most important things, you can't purchase. You can only grow them, fight for them, and choose them. Every single day. Dear friends, what you just saw is only one part of the bigger picture. In the next video, I'll reveal the twist no one saw coming, so make sure you're here when it drops. I would love to know what you would have done in this situation. Drop your thoughts below. I'll be reading every single comment. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much, and don't forget to give this video a like, hit the subscribe button and share with someone who needs to hear it.